Hey, everybody. Welcome to Paperbacks and Paychecks. I'm your co host, Sarah. And this week we're talking about heroes, both on the page and in real life, the people who have inspired us, lifted us, and make us want to do better. So, Noelle, before we get into fictional heroes, I want to talk real quickly about what's going on Book Talk today, which is Ali Hazelwood.
Yes.
I think you've posted about it as well. I know I have posted
Mhm.
about it. She deleted her Instagram account after relentless posts, even on old posts that had nothing to do with anything,
Mhm.
about her hot take on a Hunger Games character. I mean, something that
Yeah.
honestly, if you had described this story to me before I actually saw videos and other people talking about it, I wouldn't have came to the conclusion that this was cyberbullying worthy.
Right.
But there, I guess, were folks out in the Instagram world who were like, this is such a bad sin of yours to have a hot take on a Hunger Games book, which I think, as you mentioned, is years old at this point,
Yeah.
to then go and relentlessly like stalk her Instagram and post about how wrong she was about this. To the point where she deleted her Instagram, which I hope is a temporary thing. But
I hope
at the
so
same
too.
time, I can't believe it took that to get people to be like, whoa, that's kind of way off base, people. So what is your impression of what's going on and
I
how,
just
in my
I
mind,
don't
insane this is?
I don't understand. First of all, I agree with the take. I mean, I remember watching I didn't read the Hunger Games books, and y'all can come at me if you
Yeah.
want to, but it was something about PETA just, like, laying down and being camouflaged and not really doing that much, and he wasn't my favorite character. I'm glad that he did something in the end, but just it was whatever. So, I
Right.
agreed with her take, but even if I didn't, there's no book character in the world that I absolutely love that somebody doesn't like that I'm, like, really upset about. And I feel
Right.
really strongly about some characters and some movies and some books and stuff, but there's that's not somebody that I actually know. And I think that we get this attachment to some things sometimes, but I've never been that girl. Like I can't
Mm-hmm.
remember feeling overly attached to anything besides like the Spice Girls when I was in the 3rd grade. There's nothing that you
But
can
fair.
I
That was
mean,
before social media, though. I feel like if somebody had
yeah.
said something against Spice Girls, we may have been a little upset about it,
Yeah, yeah, but
commenting on posts.
it's like the shift has happened. I think it started with, like, maybe younger millennials on, but, like, I see this with, like, Taylor Swift fans and some other fans of, like, big celebrities, where if you say anything that's contrary to they're the most incredible person in the world, people lose their minds, and I don't
Mhm.
understand that, but attacking her, especially and I said this in my TikTok video, but I just wanted to reiterate it here. What is Ali Hazelwood using her platform for? She is highlighting authors that are not getting any attention. And a lot of them are Black, Indigenous, and people of color authors. And and these aren't award-winning books. These are books that
Mhm.
are not getting any attention. And she's sharing how much she loved them. I started adding some books that I've never heard about because of her. So she doesn't have to use her platform for that. It's so strange, these,
Yeah,
like, parasocial relationships they talk about. No.
it's wild because I feel she said, "You know who is a villain, Mr. Darcy." Just something from the book talk realm that was so sacrilege. It like, "Ma'am, you need to leave book talk." And it wasn't. It was something that was like, "Okay." Like that's kind of a funny take, whatever. I don't care. But it also just kind of the audience that this piqued is interesting to me because I feel like the people who would have been passionate about the Hunger Games would be our age because we grew up
Mm.
with it, maybe. And I'm really showing our age at this point, but we're elder millennials, right? And so who has the time of day to be, I don't agree with this take. I'm going to go and comment on old Instagram. That to me is not people of our age have time for that. So it's
No.
almost like a different age bracket.
Yeah.
I'm generalizing. A different age bracket has the motivation to do this, but also I feel like maybe not even real followers of Allie, because I feel real followers of Allie are okay, but they're not.
Yeah.
I am trying to what's the term? I'm trying to cancel you. I'm canceling you over
Yeah.
this. I don't feel actual Allie Hazelwood readers would cancel over really anything. Um,
No.
so it's just kind of why it's not she said, Trump's my favorite president. It's
Right.
not like she said something that was so controversial. It
Right.
required people to step up and say something because this is just morally wrong.
Right,
She was talking
right.
about
No, it's
an author was talking about a character in a book, and not even in a I base all of my characters in my books on the terrible deeds of this one villain in another series. It has
right.
nothing to do with anything. And just the response is so out of pocket. I almost feel
Mm-mm.
I'm like, is this manufactured by something? What are we
Yeah.
missing here? Because it
It was
doesn't make
really
sense,
strange.
the
It wasn't
facts
it
as
wasn't
is.
it wasn't adding up. It reminded me of, when Hunger Games came out, there was some folks that thought that the author had ripped it off from a popular, not
Right.
anime, I forgot what you call a manga, called, Battle
Yes.
Royale,
God, this is
and
how old this book is. I remember that, but I feel
yeah.
like that was in like college that we were talking about this.
Right, right. It was such a long time ago, but it was something that people were saying, and that was controversial. Did this person rip it off or not? And I could see an author going after another author saying that it's ripped off, and that being a strong conversation, something that may be a little bit fiery, but
That could make sense.
not liking certain characters is just not warranted for this. But I hear about some of the stuff that authors have to go through, and it's terrible. They can't
Mhm.
really express themselves. There's some authors that have to get security guards at books conferences. What are we doing?
Yeah, and it's almost like you're not allowed to have an opinion, otherwise people I don't know, it's like you're right, I've never thought of that before, but it's almost like they're politicians. They go out and they market their book, but they can't have anything of controversial to say because otherwise people aren't gonna read their book because they just think their characters are rooted in this opinion.
Right.
It's absolutely wild. I just to the point of the topic of today's episode, which is just heroes. I really think Allie is a hero, and to see her being villainized by not even people who actually probably read her books is so disappointing. I to your point as well, I've Allie leaves a lot of reviews on indie book authors. And so I know of two books I have picked up that I probably wouldn't have picked up, but I just base a book on its cover. I'm like, okay, maybe this
Mhm.
isn't a realm. And then I read the bottom of the cover and it was, this is a spicy, love all the characters romance. Allie Hazelwood.
Yeah.
Oh, well, if Allie
Yeah.
likes it, I'm going to read it. That's a
Yeah.
fact. I've read multiple books because I saw Allie Hazelwood gave it a thumbs up. She's a
Yeah.
hero in the book talk world. She really is. And I just, as one of her most loyal fans, I'm just so upset on her behalf. But I just also can't believe that this is the thing that we got upset over.
I
Again, if this had
know.
been a Trump statement, something highly controversial, I'm like, oh, Allie, don't go there. You don't want to lose people. But like she said something that I feel like should have been a totally safe topic to talk about to book talkers.
Yeah.
So that's my rant.
I'm with it. I was so disappointed. I'm frozen. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. You're fine.
Okay, okay. No, I was really disappointed to see the way that that went down. I think that she's such a light. I really enjoy her. And I know that she has a little bit of insecurity when she comes online because of her accent. She says that sometimes that she would do more, but she feels like her accent comes out too strong. And I think that if you coming online, speaking a different language, trying to stay confident in what you have to say, and then what you say gets torn apart online. Uh
Oh, man, I
it
didn't even
was
think about it from that perspective.
yeah, yeah. I
Oh,
speak very little Portuguese, but I can only imagine being on a platform where I'm speaking Portuguese and somebody misinterprets what I'm saying, let alone hears what I'm saying and takes it this like huge offense that doesn't seem to match what I say. Like that extra layer of confusion. And I can understand her being like, just listen, I'm doing this for free. I don't actually have to do this.
exactly. Like, I've been to an event where Allie was talking and she was talking with other authors, and it's banter. It's
It is.
friendly,
Yes.
funny. Each person's giving their own hot take. I mean, in the event I was at, she was talking about her favorite character, and people in the audience were like, really? That's your favorite? But it wasn't a boo. It was like a,
Right.
really? Okay.
Yeah.
And then, the other authors would jab at her a bit. Really? That's your favorite? And she's like, yeah, that's my favorite. I like him for this. And, even with her own, she was asked, like, who's your favorite character? And she's like, that you've written. And she's like, oh, well, I really like this one. And people were like, oh, really? That's
Hmm.
okay. That's
Hmm.
okay. It's an author event. It's not she went to a church service and was standing up. I need to speak. Like,
Mm.
where are you right now? This isn't appropriate. Again, it's not adding up. Was there some cut footage that's been removed from the internet that we haven't seen where she like actually kicks a puppy?
Right.
Where's the problem that resulted in all of this hate? It's
It's
manufactured. It is totally manufactured.
It has to be. I don't really understand what drives that other than people that are outside of their mind. But I do see this anywhere where somebody has a public platform where people feel like you are owed to have their same exact opinion. You can't make a mistake. You can't get it
Mm,
wrong. You have to agree with them perfectly. And if you can't, then I can't believe this isn't you. You don't know her. That's strange. This
yeah.
is not your friend Allie? And also, I feel like I might be kicking a dead horse here. It's a book. This is
Mhm.
we're talking about a fictional book. We're not talking about her cheating on her husband. We're not talking about her hitting her kids. Like, we're not talking about anything besides her having fun at a place that should be safe. We're all here
Should
to
be
just
safe
talking about books, and it is
with
so
authors and book
boring.
readers.
Right, and isn't it so boring when everybody has the same take? Like, ugh, I hate that. I like it when somebody can give me something that's a little bit more controversial, like, give me a little bit of fire. We're gonna have some fun with it. I can disagree with you. Like you said, we can banter. This is so much fun. And it seemed like from the crowd, people were like, "Ooh," nobody was, pulling their hair out and screaming and crying. So
Yeah. It wasn't the people there, it were people who got the clip and then they start and they're like, "Oh, hell no." And it's like, again, who has that time?
not
I have
me.
shit for you to do. If you wanna come over, people, and you need something to do, I will put you to work. But the fact that you have
100%.
time to scroll through someone's Insta, find an old post that's supporting an indie author, and being like, "You know
Mhm.
what? F you." Because
Right.
Peter or Peta was very helpful. Absolutely not.
Peter was actually my husband, and I don't know
Yes.
why. Peter was my best friend, and he was also my deaf dog, and I don't know why you would attack him.
PETA got me through some really tough times, and I have an unhealthy relationship with this fictional character. Therefore, I must stand up for what you said and speak against it. Who?
Oh
Who?
my gosh,
Who?
no. But, let's
Anyway.
talking about heroes, and we're talking about
Yeah.
books here. Who are some of your book heroes? We're talking about authors already, but, well, who are some of your favorite characters that are heroes or other authors that are your heroes?
So I really love Mary Benedict as an author. She writes these fictional historical fictions. So I talk about this book a lot. The Other Einstein. She also
Mhm,
writes about just famous women in history whose story may have been like a part of a man's story, but her focus was not given its due until now. I just
mhm.
think she is such a hero to write about women who had an impact on history, but the men wrote the history, so they hadn't been highlighted before. And she writes about heroes, and she, I think, is a hero for what she does. So, yeah,
Mhm.
anytime I think that we just are able to bring to light, unsung heroes in a way that is relevant and I just think it's important work and I love it. I love her. She is definitely a hero for me, both I know it's kind of a weird because like she's not writing fictional characters, but the characters she brings to life and highlighting them is really great. What about you?
So I was thinking about this, and there's a few folks that I just really love. A hero for me that I'm obsessed with is I talked about her before, but Jen Sincero is somebody that her books have
Yeah,
changed my life. So she's somebody that the way that she's able to just kind of keep it real with her work, I love. I also am a big fan of Toni Morrison and all that she's done, and her work is just absolutely incredible. And Maya Angelou is another one that is somebody that
for sure.
has inspired so many people in my family. It's my mom has a book that was signed by her that she got at a luncheon that she went to, and that's like a prized possession in the
For
house. So
sure. That's a family heirloom.
it is. It really is. But I'm also thinking of, geez, Night is an excellent book. I can't remember. It's Eli. I forget his last name. Now I have to look something up. Okay. Eli Wiesel. So that's a excellent book
Oh, yeah, yeah.
about the Holocaust, and
The
he, as a speaker,
Holocaust.
would
Yeah.
yes. So he would give amazing talks all over the country talking about his book and just what he was able to survive. But I think that there's just so many, it's like hard to narrow it down because before I would get into fiction, I was reading a lot of nonfiction, and there are just so many people that would really inspire me and make me feel like, oh my gosh, like I would love to get to know this person. I think one that's a little bit more recent and her story just inspired me so much was Viola Davis's newest book. Have you read it yet?
Yeah.
Uh,
No,
and
we
it was
talked about it a couple episodes ago, though. It's on my
yeah.
list. I just have so many books
It's so,
I'm
so
working through.
good. But what I'll say about that in this context of heroes is the way that she had a really rough upbringing and her parents did not do right by her. But the way that she's able to find forgiveness and love for her parents, regardless of all that she's went through. And that reminds me of there's another book that I'm thinking of where a woman got poor and she had very
Mm.
similar experience. And the way that she would talk about her parents that put her through hell. And there was a movie about it. I'll think of the name of it later. But she went through so much. And when people would interview her about her parents, saying like, "Oh my gosh, you had this horrible mother," and she's like, "My mom is mentally ill, and she's just zany, you know."
Mhm,
And she didn't
mhm.
have the right resources, and there's, like, something to that. I don't think that you have to forgive your parents if they put you through hell, but there's just something about the growth of seeing people as whole people and, like, either making some separation from that or not, but I just think that there's some power in you holding it for yourself and seeing them as just, like,
Mm.
a separate person, whether you're connected with them again or not, but that just there's something to that that I just think is really beautiful.
To your point a bit, I do like heroes that I feel like I don't know if she's a hero, but to me, like, just Pride and Prejudice, right? Like, Elizabeth Bennet. I just feel
Mhm.
I mean, total classic literature here. I think I've even mentioned Mr. Darcy already in this episode. But the kind of going against societal norms and being like, "No, I'm not going to accept this marriage proposal just because it's expected of me." Like, I think there's more to life than just being a little wifey and like I'm going to hold
Mhm.
out or like but at the same time, when Mr. Darcy proposed and she was like, "Absolutely not. Like, you're a jerk.
Mhm.
Excuse me? You're the last person I would see myself marrying." And so both
Mhm.
times in a time where your entire life goal as a woman is to accept a proposal, she turned down 2 because she knew it wasn't what was best for her, and I'm just that's kind of a badass hero to me.
Yeah, I love that. Like, really being able to stand on your own and not really needing to get that support. I think that's such a I haven't read the book. I saw the movie on a bad Valentine's Day, like, a million years ago, but and that was the Keira Knightley, version of it, but I do need to just
It
get down to the classics, and I need to read it. It
it's
needs
I
to
mean, it's
happen.
just like the book. There's very little nuance. So, I mean, that's a good you have a good summary. You have the summary, it's fine.
That reminds me of one other hero that I absolutely love that has been, an inspiration for some other books. So I love The Count of Monte Cristo.
Okay.
It's an oldie, obviously, but it's so good.
Obviously. We are doing
Obviously,
some throwbacks on this episode. Like, let's talk
listen,
about classic literary
we're
figures.
just getting really fancy. We're just getting, like, our English lit degrees
Yeah.
together. It's such a classic book, but I think that it's such a good read to have of somebody that has perseverance and is going to come through and such a good revenge story and a love story. And I love the hero in that and just being like really like steadfast and being able to move on. But the way that that hero was able to inspire other works of fiction like Shawshank Redemption, which was a book first.
Wow.
And it means so much to be able to see somebody be able to take a story and start to reiterate it into other things. And I think other prison break kind of stories that are similar are also kind of stemmed from that. But it's it's such a good book. And the author is incredible as well. Another black man that doesn't really get his flowers. So it just love a good hero that has every right to burn everything down
Mm.
and can just show up on the other side just so strong. I got to see you get beat up, and but when you come back up again, I'm eating it up every single time. I love that.
Yeah. Okay, I have one more because as you were talking, I was like, "Oh, she's a total badass hero." Okay, again, we're in literary classics today. Anne of Green Gables,
I've
somebody
never
who's
read any of
probably
those before.
oh my god. Okay, so I've only read the first one, but there's like a whole series. But like the series on
Mhm.
Netflix is fantastic as well. I'm so mad they didn't make another season. But somebody who I feel like today we would say is clearly on the spectrum. Uh, but again, in a time where you're just a girl and you're just supposed to not be super smart and be outspoken and quirky and, had every reason from her childhood to be bitter and turn out a different way. She was not dealt the right cards. And she totally becomes, the town hero and just has like, goes to college. And I love her. And I think part of it is this blind optimism. Like she's not even realizing she shouldn't be happy about things, or she's not even realizing this is not a moment to be, God bless us all. She's very, I don't
Mhm.
know. I love it. I love her. So I
Yeah.
think she's another classic hero of mine.
Yeah. I mean, we need those. We need those like Harriet the Spies and
Oh,
those characters that we grow up with. All of Judy Blume's books. Like
oh, for sure. Judy
I
Blume
think that we could.
herself, such a childhood hero of just like, thank you for giving characters stories and giving me books when I was 11 that I could relate to in
Yeah.
a woman way. Like I'm 11 years
Right.
old, but somehow I feel like a mature adult reading your books, even though it was totally targeted for me at 11. Tiger Eyes. Oh my God. I remember reading Tiger Eyes when I was little and just being like, I'm an adult now. Like I have entered womanhood
Right.
after reading this book.
100%. I
Thank
think
you,
that
Judy Blume.
there's just something about the way that she writes and the way that a lot of the authors that we're talking about have written their heroes to be fully formed people that make mistakes. They don't always get it right. I was reading a book that I won't name recently, and the only flaw that the hero had was that she just falls down all the time. Oh no,
I'm
she's just
clumsy.
clumsy. She's just knocking into
Oh,
stuff. What are you
oh,
gonna
you
do?
silly girl.
Right, and she's just timid and shy, but, like, she's not, like, giving me anything, so, like, give me somebody that really I can see a full picture, I can get the insides and outside. There's something about her that drives me nuts, but the thing that drives me nuts about her is the same quality about myself that drives me nuts. Like, I love it
Right.
when an author can bring that home, and that's the magic behind a really strong writer.
Yep. I think this was such a good discussion, a good transition to go to the paychecks
The paper
section of our
checks.
podcast. Because we can also talk about professional heroes, which I'm sure some of our own
Yes.
professional heroes were inspired by some of these literary heroes that we've been talking about. But who would you say is more of a hero in the workplace?
Yeah.
Just throwing out ideas, like
Yeah.
mentors, sponsors, a
Yeah.
boss, a colleague, like who is a hero to you in the workplace?
Absolutely. So I'm going to give this guy a shout out. His name is Jules Polonensky, and he is the leader of Future Privacy Forum. And I was his executive assistant for like 2 years, something like that. But I love the way that he led. And
Mm,
he inspired me so much at work. I had worked in some other places before, but he showed me what it looks like to be an empathetic leader, and what an empathetic leader looks like as a man too, because it's just something that I hadn't experienced before.
yeah.
Did such a good job in listening to folks and would give you the room to push back against him. I'll never forget it was International Women's Day, and most of the staff was women. I think that we had one other man in the company, and the rest of them were all women. And so he got us all lunch, and he and the other executives sat together, and they're like, "We just want to hear from you what we can do better." And that was one of the coolest things that I've ever experienced. And another thing that I loved about him, he's Orthodox Jewish, and he would teach us about his culture and would tell us stories. So it would be like, "Hey, Jules, like, can you explain Purim to us?" And he would tell us about the holiday, but he was such a good storyteller that we would just be like roped in. So the way that he would share his culture was just so cool. He got like a Planned Parenthood award. He's just that dude. So I love Jules, and I said if I had another boy, I would name him after him because I just thought he's just a phenomenal
Wow.
human. Yeah, he's that guy. I've had so many mentors in my life that have just looked out for me, that have put me in rooms that I didn't think that I was ready for.
Mhm.
But I'll name one other person that's been huge for me professionally. It was just somebody who found me randomly online, and she asked if she could do a coaching session with me. She just wanted to get a credential and asked if she can do it for free. Telling her all these things that I wanted to do in my career, and I didn't really know what I was doing. And she's like, "Well, Noelle, you're an entrepreneur. You're supposed to have your own brand. You're supposed to be putting yourself out there.
Mhm.
You should be putting yourself online. You should do videos. But she just saw something in me that I didn't see. I just didn't like see that my voice wasn't important. And she's like, it's so clear to me. I can't believe that no one's ever told you that before. And I just thought that I was supposed to be an executive assistant forever. So somebody to see that in me helped me like really know. And I was on a fine trajectory. It was what it was, but I could see so much more was available to me because of that conversation. And sometimes those mentor conversations, you just need one to go,
Mhm.
oh, you don't have to see them all the time. It's just that one conversation that'll light a light bulb for you that can completely change your trajectory. So, how about you?
Well, like real life example. So this person I am a stalkerish level fandom. Like I really love her. And it's a problem. She's probably pulled out a restraining order on me at this point. But so the year was 2007. I went to a leadership conference as like a student leadership conference. I think I was a junior in college, maybe a sophomore. And I was sent to a student leadership conference by my boss on campus. I was a student worker, but he was a huge mentor of mine as well. Anyway, and I went to the student leadership conference, and the plenary speaker was this woman named Lindsay Pollack. I feel like it was this huge crowd, but I feel like she was like speaking to me. And I remember this night very vividly because I was actually in like the third row and I made a ton of eye contact with her. She was a career coach basically, but for our age bracket, millennials, at the time. And so just everything she was saying to me, just like, I don't even know how to describe it. I was like, I want to be you. I want to be
Mhm,
you. Like,
mhm,
you are just like the way you make me feel, the way you're making everybody else in this room feel, the way we're like being seen. And it's at that time when you're like starting out your career and trying to get experience and feeling lost and hopeless. But she's like, you guys are about to do amazing things. And here's how. Here's your steps. This is what we're going to do. God, I loved her. So I went up to her afterwards and I was like, hey, I want to buy your book. Can you sign up? Blah, blah, blah. She goes, you made great eye contact. Thank you. It's always really great as a speaker to have somebody who is like making eye contact with you, whatever. And I was like, I love you. So she was my first LinkedIn connection that night, 2007. She's like,
Aw,
hey, you guys need to get on this thing called LinkedIn. And I was like, oh, okay. So I get on LinkedIn, I get back to my hotel room that night and I connect with her on LinkedIn. So through LinkedIn, I'm like following her, like everything she posts, everything she puts out. I'm like, I love it, love it, love it. Like fast forward like 3 years, I become a full-time employee, but I have a boss of my own people. I have a team of like 12. And she had through LinkedIn, I'd commented on a conversation about millennials becoming the boss. Like it's that time where
mhm,
the generational shifts are happening and like millennials are becoming into more leadership roles. And so
uh-huh,
Lindsay Pollack was really at the forefront of the generational changes in the workplace and talking about those from a millennials are now going to be your boss. Stop treating them like, oh, those dumb millennials. Like they're entering the
mhm,
workforce and in force and they're now becoming the manager. And so she actually reached out and she was like, I'm writing a book called Becoming the Boss. And it's exactly about this. Can I interview you? And I was like, of course. So I talked to Lindsay on the phone for a while and, I didn't really hear anything else of it. And then like 6 months later, I get an email from her publishing team saying, hey, you're quoted in this book. Can we get you to release it and sign it? And I was like, amazing, sure. That book became a New York Times bestseller. So, like, it's one of the
mhm,
coolest things for me to be able to say, like, I'm in a New York Times bestseller and I'm quoted and
yeah.
I'm tagged as being a millennial leader. And like, she did that for me.
Aw,
And so, like,
yes.
when I went into some really early interviews when I was in my 20s, I could be like, actually, I'm in a New York Times bestseller. And like, even though I didn't really
Actually,
contribute to a degree, I mean, it's like half a page and it's all about me and it's my quotes and like how I
I
envision being a
mean,
leader and what makes it important to be. Credit so much of my had such an impact on conversations and credibility for me. And then I started my own company and my own brand. I know I'm still talking about her, but she's so important in my life. I've been following her career for 17 years at this point. Same for her to me. She, when I wrote my first book, she wrote a review on it. And it's
mhm,
like, she posted it on her LinkedIn, but like,
it's
talk
not
about a
dumb.
hero in my career, right? Like, just this like wide eyed, like 19-year-old just staring at this woman like I want to be you one day to the point where like almost 20 years later I'm sure she's like, can we please get a restraining order on this woman in Nashville? Like she's constantly bugging me. But
No, I know
Lindsay, if
she
you
loves
ever
you.
see this, I love you dearly. I credit so much of my career to you. Love you, love you, love you. And she's amazing. And if you haven't read her books, you're missing out. She has great content on LinkedIn. She does a lot of courses on LinkedIn. So if you are looking for like practical career advice from like a generational workplace expert, it is Lindsay Pollack. Just no questions asked. So Lindsay, you're my professional hero.
Aw, we love our heroes. What would we do without
They're
them?
so important. I mean, they really do. I think what makes a hero in the workplace is somebody who can hold open doors for you. And they're like, no, I'm going to hold this for you. Think about it. You need to go in this room.
Right.
And that's what makes them a professional hero to me.
And I think that we're getting to a point in our careers where we get to be the heroes to other people. So I
Oh,
try to make sure to wherever I'm working to have my door open. I love being able to mentor folks. And normally I'm not a let's meet every month kind of a mentor. I'm a let's sit down. I'll tell you everything that's in my brain. If you need anything, let me know kind of a mentor. And I love being able to provide that over to folks who are starting to get on the rise, and especially if they're of any sort of a marginalized identity where they feel like they can't break through for some reason. So I spent some time with disabled veterans and supporting a group of three guys that were like really trying to figure out how to break through. And like that, those moments really meant so much to me. But to be able to see them start to make a transition and like seeing them do things on LinkedIn, I'm like, it's the coolest
it's
experience.
so amazing when I see my students on LinkedIn and I'm like, they're definitely making way more money than me. They are like the titles they hold. I'm like, damn, like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't believe I paid you $8 an hour in 2016 for something like this is wild. I'm so proud of you.
It's
Um,
incredible.
it is. It is. What about unsung heroes? What do you think makes an unsung hero? Like brave souls who speak up in tough meetings and things like that.
So, an unsung hero to me is somebody who's willing to advocate for somebody, even if it's unpopular. So,
Mhm.
I try to be that person whenever I can, but whenever I see those people, we try to acknowledge them. But I can think of a lot of different examples. So now my brain's a little bit scrambled, but it means something when somebody is willing to say something, or somebody is willing to see you afterwards when they know that you've gone through a difficult time, but they actually do something afterwards. Like somebody just meeting with you because they saw you get berated in a meeting and they ask if you're
Mm.
okay. That's great. But that makes you a friend, right? But what makes you a hero is the person that's willing to talk to the person afterwards.
Wow, that's a good one.
But
That
what do
should
you
be a
think for
clip.
but what do you think for unsung, and sorry we can cut this out. I do have some Reddit stories when we want to get to them.
Okay. Yes, I agree. I think to your point, being able to have difficult conversations and advocate. So in my experience, I think really early in my career, I did a lot of work that like a full-time person would be paid for usually, but as a student for the university I worked at, and getting that experience early on really set me up for success early in my career. I had some solid
Mhm.
experience by the time I graduated. I mean, I was in meetings with the university president, with the vice presidents on
Mhm.
campus, and a lot of that was
Yeah.
because of my own mentor getting me into those rooms. But I think when you're so young, it's easy for leaders to dismiss, your passion and your advocacy and just being like, "Oh, well, this is a phase. They're going to pass. Like I'm not going to really sign a climate pledge or anything right now because next semester these kids aren't going to care or whatever it was." I'm just having people to stand up and be like, "No, you should listen to these kids. Like they're on to something." And
Mhm.
so the person who says like just because they're young or just because they're this doesn't mean they don't have a valid point. And look at them, they're putting in the work, they're doing the research, they're making it really easy for us to see. And again, we're doing stuff that's at the time was ultimately going to save the university money. So yeah, just those people who say like just because they're young, that doesn't mean we shouldn't listen to them. Like that's not the reason to not listen to them. And I think those are just unsung heroes to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. All right, so that brings us to some Reddit stories. I've got a few here. I have heartwarming ones and I have ones that are like, are you a hero or are you a villain? So I'll start off with
Ooh.
this one. So
Okay.
this one came from the Am I the Asshole Reddit feed. So this is
Always always a good thread.
Am I the asshole for trying to protect my coworker from her boyfriend? So I female 25, started a new job a few weeks ago, and last weekend I was invited to join some of my coworkers in a pub for a birthday celebration. Many people brought their spouses and partners, and it was generally very pleasant. Except for one thing. Sarah, one of my coworkers, she looks like she could be in her early 20s, but she's in her early 30s. I don't know why that's relevant. She's tall and thin, but has a baby face, which makes her look a lot younger than she already is. I assumed that she's my age or younger until I found out her age the other night out. So maybe it is relevant. Let's see. She brought her boyfriend with her, who generally looked like he could be in his late 40s. Long beard, tall and muscly, and fat at the same time. Imagine really toned arms and back, but a huge belly kind of thing. He looked like he could be her father. After a few drinks, I noticed that she was getting tipsy and he's been way too protective of her. When she went to the toilet, I followed her and asked if she was okay and if she needed any help. She replied that she was fine. I tried to gently steer the conversation of her relationship and told her that it's really creepy how some guys go after younger women, and she agreed that it is creepy sometimes. And I mentioned how her boyfriend looks like her dad and it seems like he might be controlling her. She looked at me like I had two heads and asked what the hell did I mean by that. So I opened up and told her that he's old and someone so young and experienced as her is in danger of being manipulated and getting into a toxic relationship, and said that if she needed help getting out, I was there for her. She told me that I was being presumptuous and to leave her alone. I said that I understand that it's difficult to see the age difference as wrong, but it truly is. Honestly, I didn't expect that, but she was effing rude after that. She told me to
Oh,
mind my
was
own.
she?
She told me to mind my own effing business and told me that her boyfriend is the same age as her and she won't be taking relationship advice from someone she met a week ago. She was so,
Yes, I'm
yeah,
totally yes, you're the asshole. I'm sorry. Like, I even if it was well-intentioned, like, you just admitted at the beginning of the post, you didn't do a good job of reading age,
no,
and then you assumed everything you said after that, assumed
right.
all of it based on what you perceived to have been age related. Um,
Mhm.
Now if I was at a work event and I started to get tipsy and my husband was like, "Hey, you're doing a little too much," or like
Yeah,
looking at me in a way, I feel like I've been with my husband, for a long time. I would
yeah,
lean into that and be like, "You're right, it's time to head out."
right,
Now if he was like physically doing something, I would be
right.
like, "That's not normal. I need help." Never would happen. But there's a difference there between like just kind of being protective of your partner who's tipsy in a public setting versus
Mhm,
controlling. And I don't think that's what she described. I also think for her to just like kind of corner her in a bathroom and be like, "Hey, your husband looks like this and you shouldn't do this and you've known this
mhm,
woman for a few hours." Like, yeah, that's bad. And also
yeah.
that's your colleague. So now you have to like deal with this person every day when you go to work. Way to make it awkward.
Yeah. No, this is different than if it's your friend and, like, you really understand all the dynamics. I remember the last, party I went to, I was, like, 23, and we are all around the same age, but there was one woman that I didn't know. She looked really young, and her boyfriend had to be 50, like, obviously. And I was
Yeah.
watching their dynamic, and I didn't know her, so all I said when we were alone was just, "You good?" That's really all I had to just I just left it there. Just, "You good." She can take that any way that she wants to. She was fine. It's whatever, and that even that was overstepping. Like, I was
Mm.
just, the dynamic that seemed a little strange, just wanted to check in. That's it. But I didn't need to go into a whole dialogue. This woman put her, and I'm assuming it's a woman, it may not be, but this person put, like, their whole foot in their oh, no, did say it was a female. But she put her whole foot in her mouth, and it was, like, completely unnecessary. So,
Unnecessary. I mean, even
yeah,
if your heart was in the right place, the fact that you went on "Am I the asshole?" Like, maybe you do realize later that it wasn't the right move, but it wasn't that just there wasn't enough evidence collected for you to take action on that at that moment in the way you did, in my
no.
opinion.
No, and it's gonna be real awkward at work, so good job.
So awkward.
Okay,
Fantastic.
I got one more for us. Okay,
Okay.
This one says, my coworker stood up for me today. He and I were joking about one of our old coworkers who would hit on me constantly with the line, I would make a great stepdad to your kids whenever you're interested. He was quoting that line and we were laughing when one of our coworkers came up to us. He stared at me intensely before saying, no, I'm next in line for that. I was shocked. He and I have been friendly, but I was friendly with all the staff. Before I could say anything, the one I was joking with said, whoa, you know she's taken, right? The one who came up to us said, so I've been waiting. She's mine next. My coworker, who was the one that was defending me, he stood up in front of me. He's normally a very laid back guy, but he grew stern and said, she's a person. She's not a piece of meat. Don't talk about her like that. Seeing one of my coworkers stand up to another one, seeing one guy stand up to another made me feel seen. I'm nearly 30 and I've dealt with sexual harassment at every job that I've had. It's hard to put into words what it meant to see someone stand up for me.
I
I
feel
just
like
thought that
Allie
was a sweet
Hazelwood
one.
would have written that. I'm
She would
just
have
saying,
written
just
that
full
one.
circle moment. Allie Hazelwood would totally have written a rom-com about that situation, and she writes about men who do exactly that. Yeah, that's kudos. I mean, how can we spotlight and elevate those men in a way that's still anonymous? Like, how can we be
It's
like,
just the
"Thank you,"
best.
like, how
No,
do you
no.
call that out in the workplace in a way that's like, "What you did was so A plus," without making it awkward?
Yes. I love those men. It means so much to feel like you're seen because there's so many men that'll just say like, "Well, seems like she had it handled on her own," or "I didn't want to get involved there." But to actually stand up and say something really does,
Mhm.
and you're not positioning it so that you can have a chance with that person. You're just doing it because it's the right thing to do. Those
Yeah,
stand-up guys are the ones that you can trust, the ones that you can build like true like work relationships with and you can feel comfortable around. That really means something and something that I still hold on for the men that have done that in my life, especially when I was very young. When I was a teenager, I would and working at a restaurant, I feel like if you're in the
yeah,
service industry, you have to deal with a
it's
lot
the
of BS.
worst.
And
Yeah,
having folks that are in the kitchen staff who really get it and see somebody that's doing too much or maybe someone that's been drinking a little and is getting handsy and the right guy come and stand in because they're not going to listen to a woman, of course. It
of
means
course.
something to see a man say like, "Hey, chill, that's not okay. Do we need to get you out of here? What, and just take the
Yeah.
next steps." It means
But
something.
to that point, kitchen line men say, like, the most out of pocket stuff, but it's at
They
the
do.
same time in such, like, a loving way. It's like, "Come get your girl before the kitchen staff does." Like, they are so I mean, in, like, a loving way, but
It's
whatever.
it's
I
flirting
love
to, like, a whole nother level. They tend to
Yeah,
get it when you're, like when you're stern, they're good about it, but, like, the flirting,
uh-huh.
it can go as far as you'll let it go, where you're like, "Wait."
Yeah, it's like, I don't mind the kitchen staff doing it, but if a customer
Yes,
does it, like, it's not
right.
okay. But, like, what's so messed up about the mentality of being a server, especially a very young server, and dealing with that is, like, you are like, "My tip depends on me accepting this harassment," right? Like, you have to
Right.
go in it's like, I'm not gonna get paid and pay
Mhm.
my bills unless I'm just okay with being treated this way, and it's like,
Ugh,
oh, it's so hard, and I feel like it's taken, like, 2 decades of retrospective to be like, "Oh, man, that's, like, a really weird situation to be in when you're 17, 18 to be like,
yeah.
my looks and my temperament around men can depend on how much money I make." And,
Yes.
I mean, it's true. I mean,
It is. Yeah. No, and you learn to kinda put it on, and it just kind of becomes
100%.
like innate sort of thing. It's strange, but it just kinda comes with the territory, and it shouldn't be that way. I just wanna be myself and go to work and not have to deal with all this charades and wear a mask or whatever. I mean, it's just it's a lot. It's different when you work at a place where you're anticipated to perform that way, like if you're at Hooters or one of the restaurants that are out there, and this isn't
I've
any
never
shades.
heard it called a restaurant. I have never Did you come up with that?
No, no, no. I've heard it called
Man,
restaurants before, but it and I was like, that's what they are.
that's what it
I
is.
I think that there is anticipation that you have to like show up a certain way, but even still, nobody deserves any form of harassment. And having the right men in place and to keep them safe, it's essential. So shout out to the heroes. I love
Shout
this.
out
I
to the
love this
heroes.
episode.
So, how can you say thank you without making it weird? Like, how can you be like, "Thanks for showing up," without being like, "Here's a
Fuck.
card and a Starbucks gift card." Like, how do you just, like, acknowledge in a way that's like I mean, I feel like in that situation, like with the guy who stood up for the girl and told the other coworker no, I just would be like, "That was cool. Thanks."
You you
Like, just
I
that.
I wish I could do that. I'm unable to do that. I have no chill, and I'm just like a running dialogue. So I just want you to know why this meant so much to me. And one time when I was 17, you would not believe, like, it would be the longest thing. And he'd be like, oh my gosh, I
I
didn't
really
know.
regret doing this.
Oh, girl. So I can't help it. It's just what it is. I've been known to get myself in trouble from complimenting people way too much because I just can't stop and they get like, oh my
You're an
gosh.
aggressive complimenter.
I'm an aggressive complimenter and it makes people feel like, "Ugh, are you in love with me?" And I'm not. I love compliments. So I think that I would get myself into a little bit of trouble with going overboard, but it just makes my day.
It does. It does. So thank you to our sung and unsung heroes of the workplace and to our heroes like Allie Hazelwood, loving and supporting on indie authors and our professional mentors early on in our career. We love you. This is a good, like, just love episode. My
Yes.
millennial heart. I don't know how the kids do it these days, but I'm just
I
my
know.
millennial
It
heart.
looks like a gang sign. I can't. But if you want to share a little bit about your favorite heroes, go ahead and share that into the comments. You can see us on TikTok, you can see us on Spotify, you can see us on YouTube or on all the places. So we'd love to hear from you. Who are your favorite heroes?
Have a great week. We will see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.